The murder of Sally Ann Bowman remains one of the most disturbing cases in South London. In September 2005, an 18-year-old model was found murdered outside her home in Croydon. Nearly 2.5 years would pass before her killer was convicted, and at the center of the investigation was the piece of evidence that would eventually crack this case: DNA. Sally was born in Castleton on September 11, 1987, and was the youngest of 4 sisters. She attended the Brit School in Croydon and had ambitions of becoming a successful model. She was 6 feet tall and had been compared to Kate Moss. After leaving school in 2004, Sally worked part-time as a hairdresser while pursuing modeling. In 2005, she joined a local modeling agency. On the evening of September 24, 2005, Sally went out in Croydon with her older sister and friends. After leaving, Sally waited outside before getting a taxi to a friend's house. She later contacted her former boyfriend Lewis Sproston. Sally told him her sister had been arrested following a fight, and Sproston agreed to pick her up. He collected Sally and drove her home to Blenheim Crescent. The pair argued in the car, with both accusing the other of infidelity. They had recently split up. Shortly after 4 a.m., Sally got out of her car. Within minutes, she was attacked outside her home. She was stabbed in the neck and stomach and sexually assaulted. Her handbag, cardigan, underwear, and mobile phone were also stolen. The investigation initially focused on Sally's former boyfriend. He was arrested and spent 4 days in custody. But investigators eventually obtained his DNA that ruled him out, and the investigation continued without a named killer. Nearly 9 months after the murder, investigations finally got their breakthrough. In June 2006, 35-year-old Mark Dixie was arrested on suspicion of Sally's murder. Dixie had been arrested around 2 weeks earlier following an alleged brawl at the pub where he worked as a chef. Police took a DNA sample from him, and that sample produced a match for Sally's murder. Dixie was charged with murder and remanded in custody. Dixie's trial began at the Old Bailey in February 2008, more than 2 years after Sally's death. Dixie admitted that he had sex with Sally after finding her outside her home, but he denied murdering her. His account was that he did not realize she was dead or dying when he encountered her. But after around 3 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict, and Dixie was sentenced to life imprisonment. The judge recommended that he serve a minimum of 34 years. That means he is unlikely to be considered for parole until at least 2040. In September 2008, a memorial was held on what would have been Sally's 21st birthday, with balloons released in central Croydon. Years later, her family revealed another painful detail: Sally's ashes had been exhumed after her grave was repeatedly vandalized. Today, the case is remembered not simply because of the brutality of Sally's murder, but because of the questions it raised about how DNA evidence is collected, how quickly suspects can be identified, and whether earlier access to that information could have changed the course of the investigation. Sally's killer was eventually brought to justice, but for her family, the question of whether that justice could have come sooner remains a defining part of this story.